From homesteading to prepping to common horse sense, we are College Hill Farm. Welcome back to College Hill Farm. This is episode 7 of building a DIY greenhouse. Now, I have taken the time to make me a nice straight board. Today we're going to spend a little time in the shop. It's pretty outside, about 48 degrees, and but around the greenhouse is a mud hole. So I don't want to get bogged down in the mud. I want to give it a day to dry out. I can give it a day to dry out, and then tomorrow night we're supposed to get 3 to 6 inches of snow. So this is just going on and on and on, but that's the way it is when you're doing a building project on your homestead. They don't happen overnight, and they're not fast. So this is episode 7, and what I need to do right now is I'm going to have a set of purlins, and they'll be 12 feet long, and they will sit on top of the greenhouse, and that's what you fasten your Tough-Tex panels to. Now, as far as the Tough-Tex panels, you might hear me refer to them as Phylon. Well, when I was a young man growing up, I put a lot of Phylon on old buildings. And Phylon was the term used for that clear plastic roofing material that is made by Tough-Tex now. It's probably a different formula of stuff, so it's a little tougher, but I don't know if it is or not. But it was called Phylon when I was a kid and a young man. So if you hear me refer to it as Phylon, you'll know I'm talking about the Tough-Tex panels. That's the problem with being old. You can't never remember a new name. Anyway, I took some time, and you can go back and see our Homestead Quickie number 47, where I made a nice straight edge on this board. I show you how to do that without using a joiner. I've got a nice straight edge now, and I can rip this into whatever size pieces that I want. Now, there's always a bow on this rough lumber. There's always a bow side and a cup side. Let's see if I can find a rough lumber piece laying here that would be easier to show. I don't know if I've got a piece laying around here or not. Well, this one probably do. Okay, here's a shorter one. There's always a upside and then a top side. And that's the way the rings on the tree grows. So it causes the board to cup. Okay? So when you're going to saw these strips, put the cup side down, not up. Because if you do, it'll make it do crazy stuff on the saw. So saw it so that it's humped up on the top and cupped in at the bottom. But about all of that old lumber's that way. Now, I'm going to open the doors and I'm going to put on a mask. Because cutting this old wood can be tough on an old guy, especially in an enclosed space. I don't have a dust collector in here, but we have good prevailing winds that blow from the west. That door is on the west side, that set of double doors back there. And then I have a door on the east side, and what that does is when we get that prevailing wind from the west, it just blows straight through and blows the dust away from me. So, but if the wind stops blowing, it'll choke you down in here. So I'm going to put a mask on. So what I've got to do today is rip some 1-inch strips. Now I'm going to make, I'll have to make those outside because a 12-foot board weighs so much, and it gives me a hard time holding it and keeping it straight and pushing it. I'm going to cut those purlins with a handsaw, with not a handsaw, but an electric handsaw. So I'm going to cut, though I've got an 8-foot board here that I can set up a couple of rollers, and it's a little bit easier to manage. but I need some 1-inch strips that sit on top. What happens is the purlins sit over top of these pieces. Let's see. Well, you'll see when I do it. The purlins sit over top, and then in between where the rafters are, there would be a bow for your tough tacks to go down in. Well, I need to make some strips that I can put in there to keep the tough tacks from sagging everywhere there's a rafter. And that way I can screw right down to the rafters with the tough tacks too. So I need some 1-inch strips to sit on top of the rafters in between the purlins. There we go, 1 inch. Lock it down. And now I'm going to saw those. I use that as a push stick in case you haven't noticed. See the broke end? I use it as a push stick all the time. I've eaten it up. Get some air going. One. first board done. I've got 2 more to do that way, so I'll get at that. I won't do them all on video. So I'll get that done and then we'll get outside. Okay, the sun's starting to go down a little bit. I've got went and got some boards, and I've got to start ripping these to make my purlins. I need one at 0 inches, 2 feet, 4 feet, 6 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet, 12 feet, and 14 feet. So I need 8 purlins, 2.5 inches wide. Now the reason I make them 2.5 inches wide is that's as wide as a furring strip, and I have built buildings with this stuff and used a furring strip, and it was sufficient as long as there was 3 feet worth of every 3 feet there was a rafter. So that's what I'm going to do for this greenhouse. And 2.5 inches wide doesn't eat up a lot of your sunlight and cause shadows. If it's 5 or 6 inches wide, that's going to be a different subject altogether. So I'm going to cut these about 2.5 inches wide. Now this first board is just shy of 6, so I'll probably cut it 2 3/4, and each side will make 1 purlin. But I don't know how well this stuff's going to cut with this circular saw ripping. I rip stuff all the time with my table saw, but how it cuts ripping with this circular saw, I don't know. But with these purlins, one good thing is I only have to have them, one side of them straight. The other side, it doesn't matter if it varies in and out some. It don't make a lot of difference. As long as one side is straight and I can align that one side. So if I rip one of these down the center, I get 2 straight sections. So that's what I'm going to get at, and we'll see how it works out. I'm going to use a chalk line, so we'll see how it works. Now, one thing, a little tip, when you're working with this rough lumber, a pencil doesn't show up. Sharpie, that's the only thing. going to take longer than I thought. That's 2 purlins. 6 more to go. Okay, 1 board out of 6 was not bowed enough that I could use it as a purlin. The other 4 are all bowed. So I've got to go back to the lumber pile and find me more boards and try and find some that aren't so bowed. So still just 2 purlins and 6 more to go. I'll have to get back at it in the morning. Everything's taking forever. That's what happens when you use rough lumber. It takes forever because you have to resize it to what you need. So I'm going to call it this evening, and I'll see you all in the morning. Okay, that's 8 purlins and a spare. You never know with some of this if it's going to be bad or not. But, you know, there might be a bad place. But let's take a look at this one. This is poplar. It's a lot lighter than, say, the oak ones. But this is poplar. It's been out there in the weather. Look at that end grain there. It is perfect. There's not any indication of rot. Okay? So I was tickled with that. I was kind of worried that some of the poplar might be bad. And when I get down to the bottom of the stacks, some of the poplar might be bad. Okay? But most of this is going to be just fine to build with. Of course, I've got a tractor shed, and a goat barn, and a greenhouse all to go. So that gets my purlins cut and gets this video where we're going to go. We're supposed to get snow tonight, so I've got to get the forks off the tractor in case I need to clean College Hill. I try and keep this cleaned off for our neighbors. I don't really care. I've got a 4-wheel drive truck and I go whether it snows or not. But my neighbors are all young people, and they're not wealthy. They drive 2-wheel drive small vehicles, so I'll make sure I keep the hill clean for them so they can get up and down. Now, if you like this stuff, this homesteading, do-it-yourself kind of thing, be certain to come on out to the channel and subscribe. We do this homesteading stuff every week, sometimes 1, sometimes 5 videos, Just depends on what's going on in the homestead that week. Now, if you hit the little bell when you come to the channel, it'll notify you when we upload a video. We upload every Sunday. Be certain to share on your social media, and it helps our channel grow. As our channel grows, I can do some more things, so be sure to do that. And now, that being said, it's time for me to get on to the next thing.